Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. What we got here today is a 2014 Chevy Cruze. A customer came in about a month ago with a small antifreeze leak, and we're just now getting to the point where we can get to it. Actually, we're making time. But anyway, I checked it out, and I'm going to give you a couple of pointers on this because it is a very involved job if you do it the right way. There is a cheaper way to do it that does not sacrifice quality. And let's take a look. This has got the 1.4 turbocharged engine, and I saw a leak over here. Customer said that he put on this housing down here a year or two ago, and he did it himself. Well, I found that this clamp right here at the end of my finger was loose, and that was a leak right there. But that was not a very big leak. It was just a drip leak. What we had up here was a drip leak. Now, a year and a half ago, I had all this apart, and I resealed. I might have even made a video on it. I resealed the oil cooler adapter. It's bolted onto the block back there, and I had all this apart. So we were checking it out, trying to make sure that we didn't make a mistake, and we didn't. Number one, we've got this hose right here, and it's all swelled up, and it's broken on the inside. So we're gonna go ahead and replace this, even though this is not our leak. It's going to be a leak. The hose that I'm talking about is this one right here. This is the turbo cooler return hose, I think. Pressure hose or return hose, one of the two, doesn't matter. The issue is you have to pull the turbo off to get to it because it's bolted on the backside of the turbo down in there. That's the oil feed line right there. It's just bolted back there on the end of that stalk that you can see there. So we're not taking that all apart just for this simple hose. As you can see, this is a crimped on hose, and that is where it's leaking. You can see the crust that's forming around it. What I am going to do is I've got the cover pulled off of the exhaust manifold here. I'm going to slide this out of the way, and I'm going to take a cutting wheel and chop this crimp off and pull this hose out of here. And we've got some hoses here. I'll give you the part numbers. We've got this 5/8 hose, number 18791, that's a Gates, and that's going to be that larger hose that sits about like this, and hopefully this is the right one. And this is just a 90-degree 3/8, number 18030, and I'm going to try to use this for that bypass hose down there on the turbo, because if I can change this from the outside, that's going to save the customer a lot of money and labor. Now, to start out with, I'm going to go ahead and pull this hose off right here just so that I could see this a little bit better. And I'm going to take this hose loose and slide this heat shielding off so that I could save it and use it on the new one. There's a lot of heat right here. I'd like to shield what I can. This is probably why it went bad in the first place, is because it got too hot. We can only do what we can do, but I'll have a little bit to save the rest of the hose. I do have a pan in underneath this to catch the antifreeze. I have not drained it. As you can see, this does appear to be the correct hose. Now I'm going to pull this other hose loose and I'll drain the coolant out of it and slide off this protective shielding. I've had some comments on my videos by people that say they can't see what I'm doing. Well, you know, sometimes I can't either. It's hard enough to get it to where I can see what I'm doing, let alone having a camera shining on it. I apologize for that, but it is what it is. All right, tilt this down, let it drain some more. I'm going to go right straight in with my cutting wheel, and we're going to cut a slot in this. There we go. He's trying to walk away from me now. Rotate this up and see if I can break it. I didn't get it cut all the way. All right, we'll take a straight screwdriver and see if we can break it now. Yeah, I got a little slot there. Need to cut. There, that part split, and we're sliding off. Okay, now there's a barb on the end of this, so that hose will have something to hold on to. That as you can tell, this is not a true 90-degree hose, but hopefully this little bend here won't be enough to pinch it off. I'll have that armor on it. Maybe that'll hold it into a straight location. This is stuff like this that always stops you from making it cheaper, because this is a formed hose. Yes, it's just got a 90-degree, but it's also got a 45 right here. It might or might not work. We'll see. Now, since this is a very generic 90-degree 3/8 hose, and we're trying to fit it into where a molded hose is supposed to go, we're gonna have to cut this down. We're just gonna pattern it off of the old hose. And we'll flip that over. There's one side. Bend the other side, maybe give it a little extra. You don't want to be sitting there looking at it saying, gosh dang it, cut it off twice and it's still too short. Now, I've got my hose. I'm going to slide that heat shielding on top of it, and we're going to try to put it back in place. All right, we're going to try to slide this thing up on here. It's pretty good. I'm using these worm clamps because the squeeze clamps that were already on this were rusted out. I usually use the squeeze clamps because it provides a continuous pressure, but they're not in good shape, so I'm going to replace them. Now we'll get our other hose and get it stuck on there. And I peel my labels just to clean everything up. This is a plastic standpipe, so be careful. Don't go jacking around on it. All right, and we're going to top off with antifreeze and check it for leaks. If you want to find out if there's a leak, you got to clean it off too. Hopefully we take care of the coolant leaks here, but it will not fix the oil leaks. We'll worry about those later. We just don't want it overheating. I've replaced the antifreeze that I drained. We'll pump this up and see how it looks. All right, everything that I'd seen leaking is now not. Now, with those part numbers on this repair, that cuts the cost way down, but more importantly, it's a much less invasive way to solve that one hose where it runs around the backside. That part is available. It doesn't cost very much, but there's a lot of risk involved in pulling the exhaust off. You could twist something off, something could be rusted, froze. If you can do it from the outside, definitely try it. You don't have a whole lot to lose. If you ruin that line, you'd have to replace it anyway. You just don't want to get into the oil line that's right underneath of it, or the exhaust manifold that's right next to it, or the other coolant pipe that's back there. But anyway, other than that, this is a much easier way. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.